Who could forget seeing her around town? The old lady, the one with the crooked feet and the shredded shoes. Heck, it was the first thing anyone ever noticed. The old lady with the weathered face, imprints from years of rough survival. 77 of them, to be exact. That's 28,159 days those feet woke up to touch dirt in a kindling wood shack that'd scare off most people. She probably never expected her life to change, but it was going to change, whether she liked it or not. Oh yeah, and as for that little wood shack, it's not around anymore. We had it replaced. Our story takes place in Central America's largest country, Nicaragua. Draw a line from the capital, some 55 miles northeast, and you'll hit the bustling town of Buaco. Oh, wait a second, we've gone too far. Our story actually begins at that fork in the road, 8 miles back to the south. That's okay, though. Everyone passed it by, and the townsfolk were used to it. After all, when your village name is Empalme de Buaco, translated junction on the way to Buaco, well, you get the point. Let's take things back to the 80s.
After more than 15,000 deaths and 18 months of bloody civil war.
The revolution. You remember the Sandinistas. Politics aside, I only bring it up to say it was a painful time that weathered the faces of lots of moms around these parts. Zoom forward to 1991. That's when a gringo from the winemaking hamlet of St. Helena, California first arrived. He goes by the name of Jake. What fun this trip was going to be. Jake dubbed it his Third World Study the Sandinistas Watch a Lot of Baseball cycling tour. Baseball? Oh yeah, that's a big deal here. He met another gringo, and call him Harry, and the duo traveled deeper east to a fork in the road. Yep, that place. They were put up by the nicest of families. The patriarch was a man named Jorge Tinoco. He was the respected village baseball commissioner for not only the Little League, but a ragtag semi-pro team with unmatched jerseys and a burning desire to find their way to the big leagues. Harry and Jake played a little ball too, and everyone was having the time of their lives with two really crazy gringos. Remember, no one ever stopped here. And during those days, bridging the two Americas, Jake got sick. Really sick. But the ever-gracious Jorge and Tila Tinoco nursed him back. Soon, and sadly, it was time to move on. "I'll come back and repay you," Jake said to Tinoco. "No one ever comes back," is what Tinoco said. And he was right. Well, for 9 years anyway. Because, like a hurricane, Jake blew back into town because a hurricane named Mitch had blown with a ravaging fury into Jorge's town, and Jake had to make sure everyone was okay. A bewildered Jorge bellowed, "You're back?" And Empalme history was about to be rewritten. What transpired over the next few years would change thousands of lives. Jake and his friends built the village a baseball stadium and magically motivated those ragtag misfits to win championships. Every year brought another town project, and the town couldn't wait. A playground, an entire high school, a water tower. They gave away tons of scholarships and created ways for adults to earn respectable incomes. And to really give families a chance to take a step forward, Jake's gang built 65 new homes. Actually, the families helped build them, and they helped pay for them too, because living in the housing tract of St. Helena was an opportunity, not a free ride. Empalme de Buaco was on the map. The name still meant junction. The passers-by were now stopping and spending. Now the town still had lots of poverty. But this group of gringos had done something many organizations failed to do. They kept coming back, and anyone who wanted to catch their wave had a chance. But through all of those years, you still couldn't help but notice that woman with those crooked feet. She was never part of each year's main event. She was always on the sidelines, but always there, the official town greeter. And what's really ironic is where she lived, in an awful place, buried in a gutter below the busy highway. For on the other side of that highway were those beautiful new houses. Ah, what it must have been like to look up the hill and dream all those days and nights. That is, if dreaming didn't get in the way of surviving. Not only was she beloved by all in the Empalme as a symbolic village grandmother, Doña Canda had plenty of her own to look after.
That was when she went from the sidelines to the main event. It was actually the townspeople who identified her as someone special to help. And as soon as we took a step into that shack, it was obvious why. The first time we came in here, the wood was impregnated with just urine and almost, I'd say, human waste. It was a stench, a horrible stench. So sad. And you would just leave with a feeling of just complete hopelessness, because over in one bed was 2 or 3 severely disabled and deformed grandchildren just covered in flies. Three kids in a bed that couldn't move, couldn't walk, couldn't talk, couldn't eat by themselves. And then like 2- and 3-year-old little grandchildren who weren't disabled running around. There was chickens under the bed, there were pigs under the bed. My mom didn't make it 2 feet into this place, and she turned around and just left crying. As a mom, understanding the difficulties of raising children in this environment, it really affected a lot of people.
And I remember looking at the scene with horror and sadness and thinking, where do we start? How do we do anything for this lady? Her problems were so enormous and so many and so varied. And through the tears, I knew that we'd have to just keep coming back to see her and do something for her.
Doña Canda grew up in a neighboring village, in the same conditions as when we met her. She was married to a man named Ruperto, and he moved her to Empalme and built the shack himself. He was dying and wanted to scrap together a place of her own. ¿Cuántos hijos tiene?
Yo,
Yeah.
5 mujeres y 2 varones.
This 10-by-10 shack is where everyone was raised. Her daughter would leave her kids there, and her granddaughters would come and leave their children there, and they'd have more children, but they'd have to leave them sometimes weeks at a time while they had to go find other work. When we came for our big projects, sometimes we went and did smaller projects for her. We built a latrine, we built a wash area for the kids so she could wash them. We built a roof over her kitchen so that the smoke from cooking wouldn't just infiltrate the house.
Over the last several years, we have set up a food program for Doña Canda. So there's several families that donate money on a weekly basis, and we send the money down here, and the food is kept for her at another house for 3 months' supply at a time, and every week she goes to that house and she collects the necessities for life, the beans, the rice, the flour, everything she needs to improve the situation in her house.
Buenas tardes.
They also get aid from a very surprising source.
Peleando se lo llevaron reclutado. Yo creo que tenía como unos 28 años.
The government takes care of her and brings her food is because her son was killed in the revolution. And so the Sandinista party takes that small responsibility on for her. And that's why she gets rice and beans and sugar every month, is from the government as a thank you gift to her for giving her son to the revolution. In 2005, the government came and actually took the kids and put them in a facility in Managua. And she loves those kids, and I can imagine that was tough for her. But I've heard it's a pretty nice facility, and so every couple months she gathers some money together and she takes the bus all the way into Managua and sees them. And though it's difficult for her, I know that having them gone probably takes a lot of the stress out of her life. Come rainy season, that place is a moldy, muddy hell. We're not here very often when it's just blowing wind and rain through the cracks in the walls and through the windows of her house. And that rain turns the floor into mud. And that's what she gets to put her feet on every day. It's horrible. And she has to live in those conditions, raising the kids when they're sick, when she's sick. This area, this small area, houses 6 people, you know, with new babies coming and just kids in general, and a poor 77-year-old lady living in her bed with 4 grandchildren as well. It's probably a pretty destitute room at certain times. I think you get where we're headed by now. In the back of my mind, I always wanted to build her a house, but our group has a strict rule on fairness and community. It was never to be about singling out only one person. We have people work for what they receive. Conda wasn't someone we felt sorry for only because she was poor. We simply fell in love with her. She epitomized the spirit of mom. My mom adored her. As soon as she stepped into that shack, they shared a special bond. If my mom was still here, she wanted to build this house. And after she passed away, I was in the Empalme, keeping quiet, staying to myself. And it was then that Doña Conda took the long walk to see me and leaving all of her problems behind, just to say she was sorry. At that moment is when I knew I had to break all my rules. It's December 24th, Christmas Eve, and we're headed to SFO because we're going to celebrate Christmas in the Empalme. My daughter Amanda and I headed south for the holidays to start plotting. We visited the shack late one night. The kids here love Amanda. She's been around Conda's family since she was in kindergarten. All the kids in town have always loved playing with the little gringa. That night, she taught him how to play the universal game of Uno. I remember emailing my group about it. Hi guys, hey, tonight was Uno night and they loved it. We sat in dim light, on boards, 5-gallon buckets, plastic chairs, whatever we could find. It's gonna be quite a miracle to pull this off. How to finish this in 5 days? Yep, I said 5 days, guys. Who's up for the challenge? It's January 3 and we're back here in St. Helena. And yesterday I invited our old buddies Steve and Fred to come on over. And with a little chalk and tape measures out in the street, we laid out Doña Conda's house. And now I gotta get back on the plane and get back to Nicaragua and design the project. Buenos dias. Every time I get a greeting from Doña Conda, it's a big sloppy kiss and a big long hug, and always special, always dirty, always slimy. Without the family knowing, I needed to snoop around and get ideas of how to furnish the house. Even though she's used to a camera being around, I still felt we needed to come up with a cover story. Porque él está tomando fotos por una película sobre viejitas en Nicaragua. She seemed to buy it. Doña Conda's grandkids are so great, so it's really important that we do this house perfect just for them. And I have Steph back in Ireland designing her little Irish bunk beds, so we're on. Right now, she has one pregnant daughter living in the house with 3 kids. And then she has a pregnant granddaughter with 2 kids living in the mud shack out back. This is Leslietta's house. This is the granddaughter's house, who has 2 more kids, Samuel and Anna Fabiola. But when their mom's gone working, they can't stay here by themselves, so they do go stay with grandma 25 feet away when their mom's working out of town, which is constantly. Well, part of the charm of this little shack is the personal effects that are constantly changing in this room. And there's the one thing that always stays is the picture of the Pope, the Papa. And she is a diehard Catholic, very strong in her religion. gets her through her day, and the picture of her husband hanging above the little black and white TV. The personal effects that have been here forever, they're covered in soot. They're special to her. We're gonna try to design her bedroom and her new living room with things that I've noticed from past pictures and past experiences here that are always here, the constants. They take baths using the same sink they use for dishes and clothes. So I knew we had to design some separate spaces. Coffee, anyone? We definitely needed a new cooking surface and some new pots and pans. Always the giver, Conda is famous for serving up 4-day-old coffee out of a rusty old paint can. I'll give someone $5 to anyone who swigs this liquid diarrhea medicine right here. The other important part of this mission was to get the buy-in from a key group of my most trusted leaders. People I'm going to need in the next few weeks to make this happen. My list includes 7 people who have supported me from day one and who love this woman too. I call them the Secret 7. Lorena Tinoco, Jorge's daughter. From the time her family took care of me 20 years ago, I've thought of her as my sister. She's the best cook in town and now has her own restaurant. Most importantly though, she's Doña Conda's dearest friend and most trusted confidant. And then there's Nirma, the bubbly and passionate school principal. We've shared some incredible successes together, and I'm counting on her to let the kids out of school to help us at the site. Ramon Montano, we call him Mancho. He now runs our baseball school. When I first met him, he was one of 7 brothers on that first championship team. I'll need him to organize the muscle power. Misael Tinoco, Jorge's nephew, and one of our greatest success stories. He was the young ball player who worked on all the houses as a welder and then started our honeybee program. When he finishes building Doña Conda's house, he's leaving the Empalme, the first person from here we've helped get a job in the United States. He'll be working at a bee farm in Central California. Leticia, a great teacher and a town leader. She's going to play a key role in getting Doña Conda out of town while we build her house. Amy Tinoco, yep, another one. Amy is Jorge's niece and our scholarship director. She's always there to help me, and she'll direct the scholarship kids at the work site. And in the 7th spot is Gregorio. He's been my foreman of every project, and this just might be the fastest and toughest challenge of his career. And directing a bunch of know-it-alls in a foreign language, that won't be easy either. Before I made my rounds, I had to go visit one honorary 8th person, someone who I knew could keep a secret. Johnny. I guess I just needed a blessing. So he said we can build the house in 5 days because God made the whole world in 6. So I made my way to start sharing the surprise to the Secret 7. The rumor around the village was that the gringos were building a community center this year. Lord knows they want one, and Lord knows they're going to be shocked.
Cuando yo la conocí a Candita, yo estaba tenía como 17 años. Todo el mundo la quiere.
¿Por qué?
Mira, porque ella no es una persona chismosa, no es una persona pleitista, no es una persona, siempre dice la verdad, no es mentirosa. Sí, y entonces por eso, todo eso es para nosotros los nicaragüenses, todas esas cosas y esos detalles que ella tiene, no toda la gente lo tiene.
Por los últimos 6 años, ellas estaban mirando a todas las casas nuevas.
Ah, sí. Ella dijo, yo siempre quise tener una casa en Santa Elena, pero no sé por qué, dice, no se me dio eso, dice, pero yo tengo esperar por algo mejor. Entonces, si algún día quiero tener una casa bonita igual a esa.
¿Qué parece sobre el proyecto real en febrero? Es que nosotros queremos construir una casa por ella.
Uy, qué buenísimo, Jack, qué bueno. Ay, ella no, es una sorpresa para ella, por el grupo. Qué buenísimo, qué buenísimo. Yo sé que ella va a ser impactante para ella eso.
Sí.
Cómprale su cama, Jay.
Oh, cama y techo y piso y todo. Una casa nueva.
Qué bien, Jay. Yo siento que ese es el mejor proyecto que vas a hacer en el Empalme de Huaco. Porque es una lección para toda la gente. Pero nunca se iba a imaginar eso ella, nunca. Nunca, nunca. Va a ser una notición eso.
Puede cuidar esa sorpresa.
Claro que sí, Jay, puedes confiar en mí.
Estamos construyendo una casa por ella.
Qué bueno, eso es magnífico.
La cosa es, vamos a construir la casa en 5 días. Solo 5 días.
Excelente, excelente. No tengo palabras porque es tan rápido esto.
So tonight we're going to get the rest of the Secret 7 together. This is going to be really exciting.
Yes.
Bueno. The next morning, I sat the grandkids down for a chat. I learned Samuel's favorite thing about his house was his tree. I had seen him time and time again, like a little monkey swinging on his perch. So no matter what we did with that rocky front yard, the tree stays. And then I asked him, if you ever had a new house, what's the one thing you'd want in that new house?
Saco de juguete.
Saco de juguete. I had one more surprise for Doña Canda on this trip. It was something I knew she needed. We're at the center for where Doña Canda's grandchildren are. I've never been here before. Yeah, she hasn't seen the kids in 4 months, so when she found out she was gonna get a ride here and we were gonna bring her here, she's very excited. She was just sitting on the edge of her seat the whole time as we got closer. It looks like it's a great little spot. Está feliz, está aquí.
Gracias a Dios, sí.
With sonrisas tan grande. I could immediately tell this was better than I had pictured since the kids were taken away. Managua can be a rough place. So as soon as I saw Doña Canda and the administrator hug, I knew they had a special bond because she knows where Doña Canda comes from and she knows how special these kids are to her.
¿Dónde está mi niña? ¿Dónde está mi niña? Hola. Ay, si está alegre, no que está alegre.
The love is kind of beyond words, you know, just the communication they have and the excitement that I see in Doña Canda as she says hello to these kids and she loves them to death and I have to say they're alive because of her. Luckily, the government stepped in and took over and placed them here several years ago and they look fantastic and they're in good hands. I'm happy to see it.
Estoy aquí, me parece que no estuve.
She's just happy. Yeah, she's just happy to be here. Yeah. And now she's sad to leave.
Yo vengo.
Steph, how are those bunk beds coming?
The bunk beds are coming along good, Jake, I have the plans all sorted and I'm planning to bring all the hardware from Ireland because I want to use some good stuff. So if you get the wood organised, I figure we can put them together pretty quickly when we get down there.
Well, our group is going to arrive on Friday, and there'll always be a big welcoming party. And we'll put her right on the front row, and then we're going to drop the bomb.
We're about to pull off the biggest feat in our group's history, and something like this 5 years ago would have taken 6 months.
Oh, it's great to be at the stage where the secret's finally going to be told, and there's lots of excitement here now. There's a great buzz in the air. You know there's something special happening. I hope she's not going to have a heart attack and that the whole secret's a mess.
I've been planning this in my head for years, and knowing that it's finally here, it's kind of a weird feeling. Every time we arrive, it's a gift. But in this moment, I glance over at Doña Canda, sitting right in the front row. She has no idea. So then I go over and talk to the Secret 7 group. They're so excited. And I don't think they've ever had a secret like this in their lives. ¿Y el secreto cómo está?
Secreto. Bien guardado.
Everything's great. We're still on.
Hola.
¿Cómo está? Bien, gracias a Dios. Me alegro que esté aquí nuevamente.
También. To her, this was just another party. But it was time.
El grupo de Santa Elena está aquí por una razón muy especial. Invito a todos los compañeros que hemos guardado un secreto muy importante que por favor pasen aquí adelante para que me puedan apoyar, porque yo me siento un poco nerviosa. Sí. Este año el grupo Santa Elena y nosotros la comunidad del Empalme de Boaco nos sentimos muy felices porque el grupo Santa Elena ha decidido construir una casa para mi amiga Candita. Por favor, yo quisiera que ella pasara adelante porque con toda su familia la queremos aquí. Esa es la razón de que ellos estén aquí para construirle la casita a esta señora que todo el tiempo ha deseado una casa linda, limpia.
Y lo amo yo como que fuera el hijo cumite para mí. Yo lo siento cuando él se va, me alegro cuando él viene, me lleno de emoción. Y yo me siento muy alegre y muy emocionada por estar en medio de aquí de todo el grupo de él.
We have a great week planned for you. This whole group is here to build you a house in 5 days.
Gracias por todo eso que están haciendo por mí.
We're throwing you out of your house tomorrow morning at 6 o'clock in the morning to go on vacation for 5 days.
Gracias pues, gracias porque en toda mi vida hasta ahora conté esas vacaciones por nuestros hermanos.
Ok, ¿cuántos están dispuestos a ayudar a hacer la casa de Doña Canda?
Okay, so she didn't have the heart attack, so that was cool. It's a good start to the project. She's tougher than we thought.
Right now we're walking down to see the house. A lot of the group has never seen where she lives, and get a glimpse of where these kids have grown up all their lives, and explain to the group what we're going to do for the next 5 days.
Esta es mi casita.
The fun part's going to be destroying this house tomorrow morning. Los dimensiones de su casa nueva es como doble. Alegre?
Emocionada.
Now the emotions are coming. I've always just pictured her being able to roll off of her bed and put her feet on a tile floor. Instead of mud, instead of chickens, instead of just everything that carouses through this house, to have just a simple floor. Y después la casa nueva, no más lodo.
Un aplauso para él y para todos.
So the group goes away to get fed and settled for about an hour and a half. We come back, the house is completely empty. All of our belongings have been shoved into the little mud hut. The family's taken away the kitchen. It's kind of sad dismantling someone's house and all the memories. Well, I put a lot of work into this house myself. Okay, okay, she wants to see it. She's all into it. It's like Doña Canda doesn't want to spend the night in her house after we've spent so much time thinking about how that was going to affect her. She wants out of here so fast. So she's going to be here at 6 o'clock in the morning to watch us tear down the shack and prepare for her new life.
A couple wide, bigger smiles, Candy.
So here we are after an all-night flight, exhausted. But we're all about sharing in tradition. It's the little things.
Right now we're going to play Uno with the family on their last night at their house, and their electricity's out, so we brought candles.
Y mañana vamos a comenzar una día nueva para su vida.
Un nuevo día.
Sí, un nuevo día. It was kind of a morning that began like most. Samuel in his tree, cattle cutting through the yard. Well, that was different. And so too was this. Those crooked feet donning new sneakers, ready for vacation and destruction.
Parece mentira, ¿verdad?
The excitement's building here, I think.
Well, I don't know about everybody else, but I'm ready for this house to come down. Is everyone ready? Go! All right, let's back up, start the tractor.
Ahí quieres, no tengas
She's watching from every angle. She's like a rock star this morning with her new pink glasses on. She's looking like Bono.
Oh, I got a few termites here. They're just going crazy. Look at them. Look at those guys.
Up here. Yeah.
Look at those.
¿Qué translado has hecho allá?
She's a little bit worried about leaving the grandkids, but I think she's going to be okay. She's going to be fine.
Sin chavalos, sin responsabilidades. Tiene buen tiempo.
Que el Señor me lo bendiga y me lo proteja. Me dé muchos años de vida.
So can we go back to bed now, Jake?
It is so inspiring to see the people come out of the woodwork for this project, especially the kids. After years of seeing us committed to them and their community, they really want to make a difference too. So we need them. We need them this week. We've taken a meter of dirt out. We got to put a meter of dirt back in. We have to compact it. We have to set up forms because tomorrow morning we have a cement truck coming at 7 in the morning.
So the first job the ladies have to do is we have some plans for bunk beds, but we have to make sure that the plans that I've brought from Ireland will actually match the mattress sizes in Nicaragua, because otherwise we're going to have a problem.
I was really excited to see these Irish bunks.
The bunk beds will get built. We have 5 days, we can do this. Of course, I'm going to use dollars. I've been told you can actually get firearms here, and you can also get deodorant. You can get everything.
Mattresses right next door?
Yeah, no, that's way too big, so we need a smaller one. Smaller. Samuel is really not sure what's going on today, I think, but he's enjoying the excitement of it all. And I'm not even sure, does he know that these mattresses are going to be for his bed, because he's probably never had a bed. Okay, so we want 2 of those. Yeah.
So you're not worried about it being too short?
No,
Okay.
I'm not. It's not going to be an exact fit.
Yeah, right. So we got all these unofficial family members going, where's our house? Where's our house?
The cement truck is coming at 7:30 a.m. in the morning.
The sun is down and our planned electricity source is trashed because our generator just blew up.
They have to dig 8 inches down and dig a footing, perimeter footing all the way around. And they're just starting it now, so a little bit of a crisis, but we're going to work through the night until we get it done. So we've got the headlights on the pickup, and we've got some halogen lights over here, and everyone's working through the night with tools that keep breaking. Okay, so there's a pile of pick heads somewhere.
They're at my house.
Yeah, makeshift axe handles, because we have apparently several axe heads, but there's no handles. So that'll make it much better to have handles on them. In the middle of the night, I was walking in my sleep. Here.
Homemade tool.
Go do good work. Bring your harvest unto the Lord.
The kids are here. They're still interested in what's going on, and they're pretty cute. They're just sitting here talking to us at 10 o'clock at night while we're trying to finish this crazy project. We'll let them here one more day. And then they gotta go because they're gonna get to know too much of what we're doing. They're just living in the mud hut behind here, cramming into the bed together. Their mom's gone, their grandma's gone. I think we're a little bit of a comfort to them that we're here. ¿Por qué triste?
Que me está despidiendo de la casa.
He was a little sad this morning, seeing his house come down, because he was going to lose his house. I think he was more sad than Doña Canda was. But that's the only thing he knows, is that shack.
We've been here since 6 o'clock this morning, and it's been a long day, and I hope it's over soon.
It's an amazing feeling to work so late last night, come here just a few hours later, and see what we actually did in the dark.
So last night I was walking along and I found this Bible. So I thought we can't let that go to waste. So I put it on the post by the front gate, and we got a little Bible opened up to Psalms 23 right here. It's David's thanks for all the protection that he's had. And we're just thinking about this lady coming into her new home and going to have some real protection. It's going to be a great thing for her.
Here we are at the home of the furniture maker, and we're hoping he can make us some frames and a kitchen table. Hola!
This week we want to use everyone's skills. So this week we're going to use Gerardo, who's a master craftsman, to make some of our furniture.
We can provide the wood.
Well, since Gerardo has to make a living, we've got him busy making our frames, the kitchen table, and all the windows.
Grilling.
We're thinking that the beds won't be level and the blood is going to rush to their heads every night.
Now I'm working like a champ. Oh, that camera is bad luck.
Oh no, this is not good.
This is not good.
Okay, failure is not an option.
We worked down here last night till midnight because the ready mix truck's coming at 7:30 in the morning. Be ready. But it's now 9:30 and he's been parked here. And I was worried that the concrete was getting hot and hard. Turned out they hadn't added any water. Of course, they didn't bring any in the tank either. And now it turns out they haven't put any cement in. Back home, this would cost you $2 a minute for standby time. But, you know, it's just a different way of doing it. We're gonna get it done. We have to. We tore down her house. She's coming back. What are we gonna do?
Here we are in Doña Conda's bedroom. Hopefully this will be the spot where she puts her feet down finally on cement. And of course we have the monkey up in his tree. Samuel's playing in his favorite tree while we're building his house.
Literally in 30 minutes it was done, and Shauna had a great idea about how to use the leftover concrete.
We really want to have the kids' hands placed in some cement at the front of the door.
As people on the trip get more and more inspired about what they can contribute to this, every person finds their own little inspiration and ideas are thrown out there, and a lot of times it's, let's go for it.
At this point, it was literally waiting for the foundations to take hold. So we closed shop for the day. However, there was still one more task that had to be done. We motored some 30 minutes deep into the mountains to a remote village. We had heard about some relatives that lived out there. And because we thought the rest of the project should be a surprise, sorry guys, see you Thursday. Well, in about 2 hours, I'm gonna be shocked. Here we are on day 4. This is really the pivotal day, and by the end of the day, we're gonna have walls up, rafters on. It's gonna look like a whole different project from the way we left it yesterday, which was just a floor. Well, getting the kids out it's a tough decision because you like them around, and they're probably hating me right now. I talked to our chaperone of Doña Conda this morning. She's loving it. She's up very early, she said, every day. But they're leaving Managua this morning and going to Granada and going to go see the beauty and the sights of Granada, which they've never seen before.
Este lugar que siempre he querido conocer. Es bonito aquí. Me hubiera gustado que hubieran dado llegue aquí. No queda allá, trabajando.
If only I could have been there. But I sent Amanda to meet up with the ladies and share in that special day. For her, this has got to seem childlike, like it's magnified. And for her to see these islands is like someone living 50 miles from San Francisco, yet for 77 years, never seeing the Golden Gate Bridge.
Gracias a Dios ya fuimos a pasear.
Back at the job site, things were hopping. The tile guys started laying the tile before we even got the first wall up. This feels good. 1 down, 3 to go.
Buenísimo. Poderoso.
By mid-morning, up went another, and it didn't matter what got in our way. The generator broke, it's still broken. Our extension cord broke, so we just kind of hook it up and make it work. Have one guy hold it and the other guy drill. It all works.
Doesn't meet OSHA standards.
With or without power, with or without nail guns, up our walls go. Third wall! Okay, watch out for the tile when you're... Fourth and final wall, here we go. Now with walls up, everyone can get a visualization. I know we'll have everybody smiling by lunchtime. Putting walls up makes everyone's moods change and gets everyone that dream back in their head and rock and roll. The people that come with us make that investment and they show up. And then they have the time of their lives and they come back. It's because we come back that makes this story grow and continue. If other organizations around the world just came back even that second time, their story would grow and needs would be fulfilled. And then you begin to empower the community to help themselves and then help their neighbors. And it starts with us. We gotta stop talking and get off our butts and do something that matters. But what you don't realize is it's gonna change your life too. I've seen it over and over again, that it digs deep into your soul and you can never forget it.
Dale rápido!
The electric company seems to have taken the month off, so I guess it's up to us to get that big pole into the ground and get electricity to the house.
They were about to put the electrical pole in and somebody said, wait a minute, that's too close to the highway. That's got to be 40 feet from the highway. They had about a half-hour debate, and right now there's another hole getting dug over here, which is more or less 40 feet from the highway, we think. And Moncho, he's not sure what to do. He doesn't care. He doesn't care. Digging another hole makes him strong. He's a star hitter on the baseball team.
I can guarantee you tomorrow's saga will be that pole. But right now, I got to put a roof on the house. There goes the sun. It's time for the floodlights to come out.
And put about where your hand is where you want it.
Day 5, dawn. I was drawn like a magnet, pulled in to take another look at that tile floor. Doña Canda comes back in 48 hours. We got a roof to put on, walls to put up, all kinds of stuff to buy at the market. Today we have a special guest who wants to help the design team up in Buaco. It's Anna Bessie. It's Misael's mom, who's part of the Secret Seven. So Anna Bessie is a seamstress and she wants to help make the curtains. She wants to be involved. We've got her going with the group up there, and though she doesn't speak any English, gestures and smiles, they'll get the job done. This pole has been the biggest saga of this whole entire project. Well, you got the whole entire village out there pulling on ropes every which way just to keep the pole upright. And then you have this renegade tractor driver who's doing it his way. What is he doing?
That's gorgeous. We have a list that keeps growing. The phone keeps ringing to add to the list, and we have no idea even where to go to get this stuff. If I'm not mistaken, this plastic store had everything. So she's found a really cool chair, and she's insisting that Doña Canda is deserving of this chair. So sit in and have a try. No, you sit. Go have a try. Give it a go. Oh, yeah. That's the chair.
Tim Wall's one of a kind. That's why he's here. Tim's got a crazy idea and he's gonna make it happen. Hey Tim, try not to pull the bumper off my truck. I'm actually happy the electric company didn't show up. It was kind of fun to just sit there and watch the chaos surrounding this pole. Go, more, más. That's as good as it's gonna go. I hope it works and no one gets killed in the process. Well, Lorraine is a real special person, and she deserves all the good things in life, and to be able to see her happy for her best friend, Doña Canda, just adds icing on the cake.
So we were up at the bodega and we heard some hammering, so we're coming over now to the house of the local carpenter. And we've just heard that he's also making all the windows. So he's not got a lot of time. He's going to be up all night to get this stuff finished. Okay, look at that. Look, isn't it gorgeous? And all the detail and everything. So we're probably going to put a dark stain on that in the morning, get it ready. My God, this man has a night's work ahead of him. And his house is full of windows and planks and everything.
No dormir yet. No.
Mañana, okay. It's late afternoon, day 5. It's amazing how easy that roof was to put on compared to the electrical pole. With our last full work day ahead, we climb the water tower for a little ritual, and then off to an early slumber. Just don't tell Gerardo. We have 30 hours before the reveal of Doña Canda coming back to her house. So if that doesn't get you motivated, I don't know what does. You revel in what we've done in just a few days. Then you face the grim reality of the mountain that lies ahead. But that's the greatest motivator. By tonight, we'll have walls and paint and a front yard and hopefully electricity. Thank God the electrician finally made it, because we've had it with that pole.
We've got some barbed wire coming in because a house in Nicaragua is not complete without barbed wire.
Flavio's our landscape expert from San Diego. The challenge of the day for him is to find blooming plants for sale somewhere here in Nicaragua.
Well, we just came to a newly opened nursery just about 15 minutes from the Empalme de Guaco to see what kind of plant material they have. We're not sure if what we find here is going to be adequate, but we're hoping so. Otherwise, we've got about a 45-minute drive to the next nursery.
No? No. And how far is Tippy Tapa? 2 hours. Crossing our fingers, hopefully they'll have it. No one can tell us for sure. Yeah, let's hope we can get the truck going so we can get there.
So here's our power cord here that we go through the barbed wire fence, through the pig yard, over to the neighbor's house. Every morning we knock on their door and say, "Con permiso, senor." Hand him the cord, he plugs it in, we drag it all, bring it back out here, and off we go. Nothing to it.
By lunch, we started building the kitchen and tearing up the rocky front yard. And then everything was just going great until everything just hit the fan. Get closer though. Generator just went down, backhoe just left, we have no power, we're about ready to put the siding on, and we were just smooth as silk this morning. So we do it the old-fashioned way. Meanwhile, on a road far, far from here.
Okay, we've just arrived at the second nursery. Long drive for a couple plants. He has this. Does he have this one?
Yeah.
He has them both? Okay, good. A lot of different varieties of oranges and of bougainvillea. Okay, let's walk and see what else they have. Will she use more oranges or lemons? I think she's going to be ecstatic about it. A whole new entry, a whole new curb appeal to her house.
Do something, we do it right. Didn't want it to break. Yay! There we have it. The stew is in. Woohoo!
The table has arrived from the table maker. I believe he's still working on windows. He's got shutters. He's a busy guy, the woodworker, right now, and we're in the crunch time.
We've never done a project that starts and finishes in 5.5 days. So, yeah, it's amazing. Everyone said it couldn't be done, and that just inspired me to do it more. We're doing it. There's no plan B for this project. There's only plan A. We will get it done. We will get it done right, and it'll look beautiful when we're finished. And right when we'll probably be hanging the last window coverings as she's driving up, and she'll get to see her house. I hope it works out. There is nothing that resembles anything that she lived in before. So she'll be opening a brand new book to her life. There is nothing that looks anything like where she came from.
1, 2, 3.
I think when the kids walk into the house, they probably are not going to believe what they're seeing. I know that they've wanted to have bunk beds and they're keen to have ladders, but I think when they see these bunks and they see their names on them and they just see all the colours we're going to have, I think it's going to be a really exciting minute for them. The man hasn't slept in 36 hours, so I'm thinking that when the photo of the Pope is finally framed, he might get some sleep.
Estamos trabajando muy duro, todos los días, todas las noches, trabajando en su casa. Yeah, I just got off the phone with Doña Canda. She just giggled. I woke her up from her nap. She's in Messiah. I said, what are you doing? And she said, I'm just resting, and I've been sleeping and relaxing, and I saw the ocean, I saw the beach. It was the first time I've seen the ocean before. And she got worried and nervous to make sure that all these people knew that the waves were gonna come up. So she just has no idea of, kind of her immediate surroundings. It's great to open the world up to someone like this. At 77 years old, man, let her have it. Doña Canda's been giving her whole adult life, and giving and taking care of, and kids being dropped off in her house and her kids taking off, and she's been giving her whole life, and it's time for her to receive. I asked her if she was nervous, and she said no, and I said, are you excited? And yes, and what are you imagining your house to be? And she just said, I don't have imagination, I don't know. But then I talked to her granddaughter, Leslietta, and I told her we were just painting her house, and she says, you're painting it? Everyone supports us in this project. And we've heard over and over, this is the best project you've done in 10 years of working here. And we've done a lot in this community. And to hear that makes me feel great, that we are doing it the right way, and we're having a lot of fun doing it. It's unbelievably amazing. It's actually quite humbling for me to know that people are willing to take a week off work and come down and do this kind of stuff. But they go home with a song in their heart.
What are you doing? The sun's going down, so we got to put our war paint on because we don't have too much time to go. So here we go. War paint.
This will be the biggest window in the house, and in 24 hours, Doña Canda will be able to look out at the sunset. Every day, flip it open, and away she goes. We're just a few hours away, and we're working late in the night. And the Tinoco family just showed up. And the Tinocos are the reason I came here. They're a special group. It's my dad and my mom. Bienvenidos. Ya, yo quería ustedes ver la casa. ¿Así? Sí, especial. Yo pinté. Hoy estamos pintando atrás también.
10º aniversario, hombre. Increíble.
5 días.
Jake, we're out of nails. We need to get some.
Look that way, sorry.
Jake, we're out of nails. We need to get some.
The Irish bunk beds have been kind of a running joke throughout this whole project. But they're gonna look great. Let's just say there's been a few measurement issues. But right now the running joke is the electrician who can't seem to get his wires straight and figured out. But I got Tim on it, so I'm not too worried about that either.
I said, you go home and sleep. I mean, the guy's as old as me, or older.
So I think we hit a wall. Ha, no pun intended.
I think we did well. Looks like a house.
I left here last night, it was what, 10:30, quarter to 11? I figured it out this morning. Last 45 hours, I slept 4.
Not only were we busy sawing and filling toy bags, giving new plants their first drinks, or figuring out why the bunks had drill holes in the wrong places, we were also playing out her arrival in our minds. We thought about all those days she had struggled. We laughed at thinking how we'd drink cleaner coffee on our next visit. There were just so many thoughts around this wonderful backstory, and that's why this isn't your typical house building project. Well, here's Doña Canda's first bed. She sleeps in a tijera, which is a burlap scissor bed. And we bought her first bed, and it's on a bus. Her back's probably gonna hurt after sleeping on something this nice. We just looked at the clock, and then you look around at the house, and you realize this house does not look ready for Doña Canda to come back in a couple hours.
2 pieces of plywood short, so we're going to Blanco to get 2 more pieces of plywood.
So it turns out that the measurements are incorrect on all of these pieces, so we now have to take them off and put them back on again. It won't take long, but it's something we could do without right now.
The electrician, bless his heart, looks totally lost. The kitchen doesn't look anything like a kitchen. The inside of the house is a complete disaster. And we've got to be done with this house by 1 o'clock. It's almost 10 o'clock.
Ya casi son las 10.
So we wanna get things going and finished in 2.5 hours. And I want to take a moment to say a huge thank you to everybody here. It's very humbling to have all of my Nicaraguan friends helping me, especially Gregorio.
Especialmente Don Gregorio.
This was not possible without his planning. I want to give ourselves a big round of applause.
Un aplauso fuerte para todos. Y un aplauso para Jake Simon.
Esta es la inauguración del baño Doña Canda.
Hey, bunk bed workers, you know it's 10:30 here.
Let's see what you have. Oh, bonita.
These bunks were cut 2 or 3 times, measured 14 times, and then redone about 500 times. I'm so proud of them. And they were the hardest thing I have ever done in my whole life. And I could cry that they're finally finished.
Leticia took Doña Canda away and she's telling me about her trip. I think it's finally hitting me. Trabajaba duro. We did it. We did it. Yeah, I can't believe it.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Thank God for helpers. It was a vision I had always dreamed of. I know she did too. How and when and if, those things depend on how well you connect with the story. It's about building something that lasts. And I'm not talking about building something strong. I think you know what I mean. Santa Claus did come to town today for Doña Canda.
This is a great moment.
The town began gathering. Extended displaced family members began exploring. And yes, we did retrieve the kids from the mountains. And then it was time.
Ok, Doña Canda, ¿usted está dispuesto a ver su nueva casa?
Sí.
¿Está listo? ¿Sí? Vámonos.
Aquí esperándola, aquí está su casa. Se mire tanto que la había esperado usted, Candito, su casa y sus lentes. Para que la mire mejor, ¿no? Aquí está su casa.
Pase, pase, pase.
De todos sus amigos, de Jake.
Gracias, muchas gracias le doy a usted y todo su grupo que ha trabajado tanto por mí.
Pero ahora ya no se puede mojar.
Ya no, se cumplió el sueño.
Todas las manos de sus nietos.
Y la Fundación de Santa Elena que está conmigo.
Ese es su cuarto.
Bueno.
Entra.
Esa es su cama.
Venga, vamos a entrenar la cama.
Mira, ese es un cama confamable.
Rica, ¿verdad?
Es rica.
Claro.
Y Samuel, mira.
Es tuya.
Y la foto de su marido.
Aquí está también dando la casa nueva.
En la otra casa yo quiero mover.
Se siente bien, sí, Candito.
Cumplir el sueño que tenía.
This completes her dream. Hay un ducha. Su lavandero. ¿Tú recuerdas en diciembre cuando yo pregunté qué quería en su cuarto? ¿Qué dijo? It's awesome. The kids are so excited. Doña Canda does not know what to say with all this attention. It's almost better than I could have imagined. It was so great looking over at the Secret Seven and seeing them sharing in the glory of the day with Doña Canda. And they are truly the leaders of their community. Lorena kept telling me that Doña Canda kept going back to her bed and posing and laying on her bed and saying, "This is just like the hotel I stayed in Granada." And there she was, telling stories of her vacation, showing off her newly painted nails, and even cracking jokes.
Es bueno, ¿verdad? Que tiene su luz propia. No va a andar ya prestándole a nadie ni nada. Ahora tiene lo que es suyo, ¿verdad? Apaga y enciende a la hora que usted quiera. ¿Ah?
Claro que sí.
Everything was new. Even the stunning Nicaraguan sunset looked more beautiful with a frame around it. And so our tired group said our goodnights, leaving her to revel with her joyous neighbors. Of course, some of us couldn't help but to sneak out for one last peek.
It's 20 minutes to 10 tonight, and 12 hours ago the sidings weren't even up on this house. So look what can be done in 12 hours.
Que el Señor me la bendiga, me la protege y me le dé muchos años. Alegre.
Very happy.
Porque yo soy perdón, abuela, mire dónde estamos.
With the help of the group, with the help of her, we've changed people's lives this week for the better. So after 8 years of visiting Doña Canda and always leaving upset and worried and not knowing what we can do for them, This is the first time I'm leaving and I'm so happy because the family are happy and she's happy and they finally have their dream. It's absolutely wonderful.
When it all started setting in, I noticed before me a woman I had never seen before. Nothing like the old lady I first saw around town, the one with the crooked feet and the shredded shoes. We departed town that morning, off to corners around the world, but not before getting the shot I had always wanted to see. The one she probably dreamed of for some 28,159 days. And I got a few extra dirty, slobbery kisses thanks to that tile floor. I've been truly blessed in my life. And people always debate whether it's them or us who benefits the most. And it's always us. Because when you have a chance to give of yourself, there's no greater gift. And this week, people had a chance to give of themselves, and it was about trust and love and community. And when you have an opportunity to be part of something like that, everyone wins.